Hello, good afternoon, and you're watching Market Fatafat on ET now with me, Vinny Motiwala, along with me, Cheryl D'Souza as well. Cheryl, a very good afternoon to you as well. But markets, try to make that recovery, but look at the fall again that's come back, after it just trying over there, but then after that, nothing exciting again.
Absolutely, Vinny. Markets were unable to hold on to that recovery that they were hoping to actually kind of sustain. As you can see on your screen, Nifty is now trading lower by about 170 points. Actually, it's at a 1 month low as well, so below the 9,400 mark. Talking about Nifty Bank, that's the one that's underperforming the benchmark indices as we speak. As you can see, Nifty Bank is trading lower by about 1% or so. Even the broader markets today are unable to hold on to any sort of a shade of green. If you look at the small cap index over the last 1 hour or so, we've seen a sharper knock, 1.5% downtick coming in for small cap index. Let's take a look at what actually mid cap index is also doing at this point in time. There you go, 1.8% downtick coming in for the mid cap index. Taking a note of what the sectoral indices are doing at this point in time, you only had FMCG index that earlier on that was holding on to a shade of green, but right now even that's caved in, and all the sectoral indices in fact are trading with sharp cuts, with FMCG being the least declining sector as we speak. So talking about the sectoral losers, then it is the PSU Bank index that's on your screen, down about 3%, top sectoral loser in trade today. Remember, the PSU Bank banking names were actually outperforming the private sector banks of late, but today there you go, they've caved in. 3% downtick coming in for PSU Bank, Realty, Metal, all of them seeing sharp cuts in today's trading session. So yes, not a great picture coming in for the markets today, and also you don't have the European or even the US market futures lending support to the Indian markets, Vinny.
Absolutely, that's how the markets are looking like, Cheryl. But on that note, let's get started with those individual movers in stock that are buzzing either on the back of news flows or on the back of technicals. And on the technicals, we are joined by Sumeet Mulchhandani, while from the research team, we have Harsh as well as Ashesha joining in with us. A very good afternoon to all three of you all as well. And I'm going to be starting with the first stock that is in focus, and we are talking about the FMCG pack today. First one is Nestle India. It's a top at Nifty FMCG gainer as of now, trading with gains of around 1.9% as well. And it gained much more in trade as well. It was up almost 3% as well. Why is that so today? Is that obviously what, as an announcement came in yesterday, that actually the board will be scheduled to be meeting on 19th of October. They will be considering their first ever stock split. The consumer giant is also going to be considering an option of the stock split of existing equity shares, which are at a face value of ₹10 each as well, which is fully paid up. And this is what was mentioned in their release as well, which was on the exchanges. So on the back of this, today we are seeing Nestle is trading higher in trade. Let's not forget, it's one of those expensive stocks as well. So yes, that's something that everyone is watching out for. 19th October is the date that we are keeping an eye out on for that.
Alright, so that is Nestle India for you. That is holding a shade of green on back of that particular development. Let's talk about Axis Bank, because this is one is getting knocked in today's trading session. It is in fact it's fallen most in about 7 months in today's trading session. As you can see it on your screen, biggest intraday decline coming in 7 months for the stock. The stock is also among the top losers on Nifty Bank, which is down about 2%. The stock actually saw a slew of block deals take place in today's trading session, and post those block deals, we've only seen sharper cuts come in for Axis Bank. So there you go, 4% downtick coming for Axis Bank, among the top losers on the Nifty as well as Nifty Bank field.
Okay, that's Axis Bank on news flow, but also Axis Bank, Sumit, is the first stock that you've picked out for us. What are the charts now indicating for this private bank? Where do you see it moving on from here on, and what is the target that you're keeping?
Hi, good afternoon to all. So, if you will see, it is the highest loser, we can say, in amongst the private banks. And from the morning itself, it is an open high candidate and still showing the weakness. Previously 995 was at 998. This was the level as a resistance, and now it is acting as a support. So anytime closing below the 1000 level will show more weakness. A M pattern is formed in technicals. It is the most weakest pattern. So we are expecting more downfall till the levels of 979 and 963. So if any future player is there, one can create a short position with the stop loss of 1014. And for any retail player, we would just suggest to book some profit or exit at the current market price.
All right, so that's the view coming in on Axis Bank. Ashesha, coming to you, APL Apollo Tubes is a counter that you're tracking for us. What's the news surrounding this one today?
Well, yes, it reported its operational data yesterday post-market hours. Strong data. The stock, in fact, was trading in the green earlier in the day, but has now slipped into the red in line with the broader markets. Sales volume stood at about 6,74,000 tons, which is an uptick of about 12% on a year-on-year basis. Remember, the company also said this is the highest ever quarterly sales volumes that the company has reported in the quarter gone by. Contribution from value-added segments stood at about 55%, and the company is working aggressively to increase the share of value-added products. They also say that they are aiming to increase the share of value-added products to about 70% from here on. Sales mix will improve further in the quarters with rising contribution of innovative products. Strong set of operational data. The stock, in line with the broader markets, is declining in trade today.
Okay, that is APL Apollo Tubes for you all. Keep an eye on that operational update that has come in. But Harsh, AU Small Finance Bank also in focus for the same reason?
Well, yes, operational update as well from AU Small Finance, largely with regard to loan growth as well as deposit growth. What we're seeing on the loan side is growth on a year-on-year basis came in at 24%. Now, mind you, this is a slightly higher base. In Q2 of FY23, we saw very strong loan growth from AU, 44% year over year was the loan growth it clocked in Q2, which was the highest in the last 10 quarters. Now, in Q2 of FY24, it's clocked the lowest in the last 10 quarters with regard to loan growth. Other than the high base, what's also important to see is on a sequential basis, we've seen loan growth of around 2%, which is also slightly muted, I would call it. Deposit growth, though, is extremely strong, 30% year over year, 9% sequentially in an environment where a deposit growth catch-up is required. On the CASA front, we saw good growth on the CASA as well, 6% sequentially. So largely on the deposits front, it's a good set of numbers. On the loan growth front, slightly muted.
All right, that's the view coming in on, or rather that's the news flow coming in on AU Small Finance Bank. But Sumeet, coming to you, let's talk about Edelweiss. And how is this one looking to you?
In the current scenario of the market, where the Nifty on the weekly time frame also showing some bearishness. If you will see, the Nifty has formed a tweezer type in the weekly. So we will just go with the stocks which are giving the breakout on the weekly time frame instead of the daily. So in the Edelweiss, if you check, there was a strong resistance zone near the 60. So previous week we got a closing above the 60, and in the current week, if you see, all the three daily candles are giving us the good green formation. So still we are looking ahead that the momentum will be continued. So utilize all the dips till the levels of 60. Current market price is around 65. We are expecting 78 and 90 in coming 1 to 3 months. So grab the opportunity and utilize the dips.
Surely keeping an eye out on that one. Let's move on and talk about another operational update that has come in, and this one is from Avenue Supermart. Now, when you look at Avenue Supermart, what has actually happened? Yes, the revenue on an absolute basis is at an all-time high. 12,300 crores is what the revenue is at for Q2 FY24. And yes, on a total number of stores that they've added, that is 336 stores that is there in total. But sales momentum seems like slight bit of a recovery. But what is there is that recovery on a quarter-on-quarter basis is what we're seeing. Revenue is up 19% on a year-on-year basis, which is slightly lower in terms of when you compare past the year-on-year basis growth that they have, and pre-COVID levels it was 22+% growth that we do see in terms of the revenues of the company. Now it's at 19%, so slightly lower in terms of that. Store additions, obviously that has seen a bit of a pickup sequentially with 9 stores added during the quarter as well. So sequentially there's improvement in terms of the pace of store addition that we've seen coming in. Sales per square feet, that's up by 6% year-on-year basis, inching towards that pre-COVID levels as well. So keeping an eye out on that one. Overall, yes, seems like a decent update that has come in from Avenue Supermart in terms of, yes, we're seeing a momentum and improvement in terms of store addition as well, reaching more towards the pre-COVID levels, and that is why Avenue Supermart today is up and away and trading with gains of 3.79%.
All right, that's Avenue Supermart that is in focus in today's trading session. Another counter that is in focus on back office operational performance for the quarter gone by. And Sumit, let's talk to you about Avenue Supermart then. And how do you see this one on the charts? Do you think it's coming in an attractive zone that one can look at it, or should one still continue to wait out?
Yeah, there are many parameters as per the technicals also where it is giving us the good momentum. So the previous swing low was near about the 3500. Afterwards, it touched the levels of 3850 and again got some dip. But this time, if you will see, all the last 4 to 5 sessions, it has taken the three major moving averages support. One is the 50, then 100 and 200. All the support it has taken and shown some pullback. So yesterday's closing was important, and today gap up, open low, and the previous swing high 3850. We are getting the almost close above. So looking good. I would just suggest to wait for the closing above the 3850 level. So ahead we will be expecting 4250 and 4400 levels. So one can keep the stop loss of 3690 here.
All right, so that's the view coming in Avenue Supermart. Let's talk about Saskin Technologies, because that particular counter was buzzing in trade today, holding about gains about 13% last time I checked. Right now, it's trading higher by about 8.5% or so, and at 13% higher, the stock had hit a highest level since January 20th, 2022. The company informed the exchanges that it has partnered with Qualcomm through its Internet of Things program. And post this particular announcement, you saw the stock actually roar in trade, 13% uptick on an otherwise weak market. Right now, still holding on to strong gains of approximately 8.6%.
Okay, and Sumit, on the charts, how is this stock looking like to you? What are the technical levels that you're keeping an eye out on? Today itself, almost a 9% uptick that we're seeing. Last 6 months, 40% return. Now, what is the view on this?
In September first week, on the weekly time frame, it has given an ascending triangle breakout, but afterwards got some profit booking. Now it is again gaining some momentum and also giving a close above the previous, that first week high. That was around, high was 1170. So we are expecting a much new higher. The previously the stock has touched near the 1500. So if we see on the weekly time frame, this can be achievable in next to 6 months. So 1500 and 1750, these are the two targets we will be looking for, and one can keep a stop loss of around 1000 level here.
All right, so that's the view coming in on Saskin. But Shesha, let's talk about Titagarh Rail, because when we kickstarted for trade, this one was buzzing in trade.
Well, yes, it is trading in the green in an otherwise weak market, and order win is the reason why the stock is buzzing in trade today. It is off the day's highest point, but despite that, holding on to gains of nearly 0.5%. The company yesterday informed the exchanges that they inked a contract with Gujarat Metro Rail for manufacturing 72 standard gauge cars for the first phase of Surat Metro Rail. The order value of the project will stand at about 857 odd crores, and the company also that the execution is slated to commence within 76 weeks of signing the contract and is expected to be completed in 132 weeks. So on the back of this order win that has come through, the stock is gaining in trade today, 0.5% higher in trade as we speak.
Let's move on and talk about NAVNET Educations on the technical front. And Sumit, what a up move that we've already seen in the stock, almost a more than 60% return in the last 6 months from 100 levels to 163. What is the upside now you're expecting?
As I already told you, on the weekly time frame, it has given the inverted head and shoulders breakout in July last week. But after the consolidation, it is a perfect retest candidate, and now going for the new 52-week high. So the same momentum can be continued, and we are expecting the targets of 220 and 252. So one can keep a stop loss of 138 here.
Let's talk about Reliance. Sorry, not Reliance Industries, but HDFC Bank. Harsh, today looks like one does a change for coming in for HDFC Bank, given the fact that this one actually recovered very smartly from the day's lowest point, isn't it?
Well, yes, on a tough day of trade, HDFC Bank really holding out, in fact, in trade today. And, this is despite the fact that the Nifty as well as the Nifty Bank are declining, and mind you, 30% or 29% to be absolutely accurate is HDFC Bank within the Nifty Bank as well. And this largely the reaction is on the back of the fact that there was always some amount of skepticism as to whether the merged entity HDFC Bank can continue to grow. And today the operational update seems to suggest that it can continue to grow. At least that's the early indication right off the bat. 5.5% odd growth on a year-on-year basis when it comes to HDFC Bank's combined balance sheet ex HDFC Limited's non-individual loan book is what HDFC Bank is. On a year-on-year basis as well, 18+% growth when I'm looking at it year over year. Deposit growth traction also quite solid, 18% again on the deposit side as well, 5.3% sequentially up on the deposit side as well. And on the back of those slightly good and sound set of numbers declared by HDFC Bank, you can see the stock is up 1%.
Let's move on, talk about MTAR Tech then, Sumit. And MTAR Tech, last month it did hit a 52-week high, it did touch its 52-week high. Right now also close to those levels. But what is the view on MTAR Tech? Could we see a correction coming in, or are you expecting a further upside?
In the previous week, it took a support of 50 moving day average, and it was the previous resistance also. So right now it is acting as a support. And today and yesterday, both are the good green candle formation. So there is a little hurdle here, 2700. So whenever the stock will close and sustain above the 2700, we will just advise for the fresh buying position if anybody wants to. And already holding, if any retail player is already holding, one can keep a trailing stop loss of 2480 here. So we are expecting the new high 3065 and 3250. These can be the two targets.
Okay, let's move on, talk about V-Mart then. And V-Mart is in focus on the packets of operational update that has come in for Q2 FY24. When you look at it in terms of the operational update, the revenues from operation has seen a growth of around 8%. So subdued growth on a year-on-year basis, 549 crores is what the revenue from operation is expected at. The new stores that the company has managed to add is 6 stores. The gross overall, they've opened up 8 stores as well. And let's not forget, Lime Road is the acquisition that made in the recent times. That's a digital marketplace that is seeing a growth of 24% on a quarter-on-quarter basis, and the revenue from Lime Road is at around 22 crores. Now let's not forget, this quarter is mainly a bit subdued because of the festivals that were there during Q2 in terms of Adhik Maas as well. So the festive season actually has moved from Q2 to Q3. That's, I beg your pardon. So because of that, what we're expecting is a muted Q2, while Q3 is expected to do well. Let's keep an eye out on V-Mart. Operational update seems a bit subdued.
All right, subdued operational performance coming in from V-Mart. But Sumit, let's talk about MPS, and how is this one looking on the charts to you?
This is the stock which is not discussed very much, but it has a good technical. Every time it is taking the support of 200 and bouncing it back. So today we are getting the new 52-week high, or we can say the new lifetime high for the stock. And this momentum can be continued. Now there was a candle of 25th of August in the daily. So the stock was ranged between this level only. So 1650 and 1425. This was the range. And today we are getting the range breakout. So expecting a momentum to be continued till the levels of 2000. So 1500 can act as a support and stop loss.
All right. Moving on, let's talk about Dola Dairy, because that particular counter is in focus in today's trading session. Earlier on, the stock had seen an uptick of as much as 5.5%. Right now, it's still holding on to positive territory, about 3.7%. The company has said that its unit Orga Feed has actually started operations at the new cattle feed plant in Andhra Pradesh, and they've said that the capacity of the new plant is around 12,000 tons per month. And post that particular announcement, you can see a good spike in the stock and still holding on to good gains of about 3.7% in an otherwise weak market.
Let's keep an eye out on that one. But Bajaj Finance, that's a stock in focus as well. Shesha, and this one also in focus on the back of its Q2 update.
Well, absolutely. Strong growth continues for Bajaj Finance, and the stock was on the back of this positive news that came in, was trading in the green earlier in the day, but has now slipped into the red, 1.5% higher, lower trade as we speak. AUM growth this quarter has come in above the guidance of 29 to 31% that the company has given for the full year FY24, and it was also above the long-term guidance that the company has given of 25 to 27%. Customer addition was strong this time around, both on a quarter-on-quarter as well as on a year-on-year basis, and deposit growth outpaced advances growth in the quarter gone by. Liquidity position, meanwhile, also continues to remain strong. We also have a couple of brokerage notes that have come in. Jefferies is maintaining its buy stance on the stock with a target price of 8,830. They say within NBFCs, Bajaj Finance is one of their top picks. Morgan Stanley, meanwhile, is maintaining its overweight stance. They've gone ahead and hiked their target price from 9,500 to 10,300. They've been bullish on Bajaj Finance for a while, and they say that this is an ideal play on India's ongoing NBFC rally. So on the back of strong operational data and thumbs up from brokerages, this counter is in focus today.
Let's move on and talk about then Bajaj Finance on the chart technical levels. Sumeet, what is the level you're keeping an eye out on now for Bajaj Finance?
This is the fifth time Bajaj Finance is getting the rejection from the 8,000 level. So from the 21 to 23, fifth time in 2 years. And today's candle is formed very negative. That is called DCC, dark cloud cover. So we are expecting much more profit booking from here. Current market price is around 7850. So, but we are expecting the levels of 7675 and 7600. So downfall can be possible. And 7960. If any F&O player is there, 7960 can act as a stop loss. For any holding player, retail player, one can keep a last hope of 7700. If it is broken, then we would just suggest to out and book profit for some time.
Alright, moving on, Harsh, let's talk about South Indian Bank. This one also in focus on back of its operational update like the rest of the banking names right now.
Well, absolutely, Cheryl. Yes, South Indian Bank in focus on the back of that as well, and a slightly poor update or a muted update, if I can call it, coming in from South Indian Bank, also reflecting on the stock price today. Having a bad day in any case for the larger market as well. Advances the number has come in at around 75,000 crore versus a 68,000 crore number same time last year, which is a 10% uptick on a year-on-year basis, 1% growth sequentially. Deposit growth slightly better on a sequential basis, 2% higher sequentially, but yet continues to be around the 10% number on a year-on-year basis. CASA grew just 2% year-over-year. Of course, in a market and in the overall context where credit growth is quite strong, exceeding the 15% mark through the quarter, you are seeing 10% as a slightly muted number coming in from South Indian Bank, and that's why you're seeing that pressure on the stock.
All right, that is South Indian Bank for you. But yes, today we had a very special guest on ET Now, that's Vijay Kedia, who spoke about many stocks that have been on his radar and the rationale for him backing those counters. Listen into what he has to say.
I had bought Weber Global at an average price of say 50 rupees. Okay. Now it is split and whatever it is. And in 50 rupees, by in 2021 or 22, it was 1,000 rupees. Okay. From 50 to 1,000 rupees in a span of 6-7 years. Right. Okay. So I did not sell. And then again it fell back to 300 rupees. Now again it is 450 rupees. So this is the story. Why didn't I sell? Just because I found that story is not yet over. On the contrary, of course, the growth has come down. Earlier, company was growing at 20%. Now, company has plateaued or not grown in last 1 year. Now, or maybe in the current year, they will grow some 7%, 8%. During that time also, balance sheet was very perfect. And company expanded also. They entered into some new geography, like they entered into Germany. So that means company is generating enough cash flow to expand its business or to diversify into a new territory. So that shows the confidence of the management, or confidence of the balance sheet. In spite of growth, maybe the train has slowed down. Train has not stopped. The train has slowed down. So that is part and parcel. It's okay. Now when this new phase will start, then again earlier they had 2 geography. Now they are into 3 geography. So whenever that new this era will start, so they should be they should have good opportunity in front of them.